All right, after that long discussion, we're going to turn now to the economy, shall we? Let's go ahead and start with this viral segment here of a soybean farmer furious with the Trump administration for bailing out Argentina after he has himself suffered tremendously from tariffs. Let's take a listen.
Well, like we talked earlier, we went from 12 billion to zero. And then, as a farmer, we get up one morning and you give Argentina, which is our second biggest competition in the world. They're the largest exporters of soybean meal in the world. So I get up one morning, I turn the news on, and you give $20 billion of taxpayer money to my competition. And then the Chinese buy, I think the figure is 30 or 40 containers, ships, which is about 65,000 metric tons per ship, which is like 2.2 million bushels. So they buy 12 or 14 billion dollars worth of soybeans from the Argentinians after the tax holiday. And here's the caveat to it. They give $2.30 over the November board, while I'm getting 50 cents under the November board. So that makes the Argentinian soybeans about $12.42 a bushel. I think that's the real figure they gave. So all my premium, they all went to Argentina.
So all my premium went to Argentina. Man, I haven't gotten into weigh in on Argentina. That is so patently insane that we're bailing these people out. Literally just because they're Trump friendly. I mean,
and because a bunch of hedge funds.
Yeah, of course, right.
Benefit.
Hedge funds and VCs, et cetera, who placed bets on the Malay dream. And now our own people are like, hey, what the fuck, dude? And then we had the leaked text messages that came out from, what was it, to Scott Bessent about the Chinese. Just the way that these people have handled this, it's offends me more than anything. Like the lack of coherence, the incompetence, it is unbelievable. And it would be funny if it weren't for guys like that, the soybean farmer, bailing out Argentina, becoming the laughingstock, having no real trade deal here with China. By the way, I've been tracking closely. The new prime minister of Japan previously had said, I'm going to renegotiate that trade deal. So let's see how that goes. We turned Japan against us. Great. Oh, awesome. There are so many instances on the world stage and here publicly where things just make genuinely no sense, like no sense whatsoever. And so putting it all together with the economy, that's what worries me, because at the same time, the one industry which is actually getting quite a bit of help from the federal government is AI. And there's some worrying stuff out there. Let's put this up here on the screen. The AI bubble is, quote, 17 times now the size of the dot-com frenzy and 4 times the subprime bubble. One analyst is saying, of course, look, we can always find an analyst to say everything, but of course, I like the headline. And I do think it kind of underscores some of the issues that we are having where we talked extensively about this. AI capital expenditure and data center spending specifically is the only thing propping up our economy. We would almost certainly be in a recession if it were not for AI data center spend. That is a highly inefficient way to make sure that you have GDP growth, because it is not in any way distributed across the economy. It is not. It is the literal opposite of what a thriving small business labor market and all of that is supposed to look like. If we look in the opposite direction, what do you see? You see everything else trending in the wrong direction. C3, for example, please, let's put this up here on the screen. Quote, are we in a recession? Yes, if you live in one of these 22 states. And so they specifically point, if you look at those recession numbers, part of it is the flyover country where a lot of it is farming. That's where a lot of that is coming from. You have the Pacific Northwest, you have Maine and a lot of the northeastern corridor, actually here in our own home state, and then including down federal government. And then actually, this is very concerning if you look down south, because down south and specifically around Florida, the Panhandle, these states were supposed to be booming under the new economy with work from home and with new investment. Georgia and all these other places were supposed to be getting a lot of money. And so anyway, when you look at some of these, it's very worrying, and you consider that if you have 22 states, a lot of them in places that are not going to be data center reliant and or anything that has to do with the technology company or oil and gas, like you can see in Texas, it's expanding, you're already having issues. And they already say treading water in a lot of big economies, including California. So it's not a rosy picture when we put it all together.
No, absolutely not. And worth reminding you guys, we were supposed to get a jobs report Friday. We did not get a jobs report Friday. That was partly government shutdown, partly that we don't have a BLS commissioner. The one that gave the numbers Trump didn't like got fired. The new guy, even conservatives were like, this guy can't do the job. And so his nomination had to be pulled. They previously had delayed an inflation report, but there was an ADP private jobs report that came out that showed a very damaging jobs number and a lower revision for prior months as well. So things looking incredibly shaky. And to go back to the piece about, the tariffs and the way this is impacting everybody, put C4 up on the screen. I mean, this just kind of tells you everything. So while the soybean farmers are getting screwed every way in 5 ways on Sunday, you have basically no tariffs on computer imports. So for these giant, companies that are building out these data centers, they're not having to bear any extra costs from the tariffs. And you have this massive computer import surge due to the AI boom. So this speaks to the tariff policy. It also speaks to the increasing consolidation of our economy in this, very speculative AI data center boom. And, it's possible, by the way, just like with the dot-com bubble, that AI genuinely does turn out to be transformative and that a bunch of people lose their asses and we have a massive, crash and contraction and a bubble bursting, because most of these investments that are being made, and we're talking insane amounts of money being thrown at AI and at data center build out right now, most of this is not profitable. They're still in this land of like, well, we'll figure out how to make money down the road, but we have to be the ones to win the AI race. And so, of course, that could set up
I got one for you right here.
Bubble situation.
Huge news just this morning. AMD stock is up like 40%. OpenAI and AMD have announced a massive new computing deal, quote, marking the new phase of the AI boom. 5-year agreement will challenge NVIDIA's market dominance as OpenAI plans deployment of the AMD new chip. Their stock is literally booming overnight. And I think it's actually carrying a decent portion of some of the gains this morning. But what does that mean? I mean, do you remember I was on with Ryan, where OpenAI invested 150 billion, I forget into who, into some company, and then their stock went up by like 150 billion, and you're like, wait, what? You're like, you're expending money, but then your stock goes up. I think it was NVIDIA. That's what it was. It was like, we're going to spend X, Y, and Z, and then our market cap is going to go up by X, Y, and Z. It's like, but no, the money's going out of the company, not in.
How does this?
So how did this work? You're like, what? Look, I'm not a smart person, I guess, when it comes to stocks, because I would have predicted a crash a long time ago. But something about this, it just doesn't seem right. And then the Sora AI, I originally was kind of excited for Sora. Once Sora 2 came out, I'm like, this is literally just TikTok slop, like AI TikTok slop. I saw Mr. Beast and other people being like, oh, it might replace creators. I don't think so, at least for right now.
Not yet.
To my eye, it looks like shit. and I have yet to see a piece of creative AI art that actually passes the smell test. But I don't know.
They're getting close, though.
I mean, they are. Have you seen anything compelling?
Yeah.
Like actually good?
Yes.
Okay.
So Kyle and I were talking about this last night, and he was showing me these videos that people made of like, I don't know, WWF, like 1990s WWF remakes, but it'll be like Tupac Shakur and Biggie, right? And because you're telling it to do it in that style, the camera quality is low. So it's a little fuzzy the way that if you watch some 1990s media, the way it would look. And they pull that off really pretty well.
Oh, I have seen some of these 90 eras cuts.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like Take Me Back.
I feel like those are the ones where it comes closest. If you're trying to create a video that has the quality of like, 4K cameras in 2025 or whatever, and that level of crispness, people have a little bit of that uncanny valley. Like there's a weird sheen to them. It's just not quite right. But they're getting pretty close. I mean, the level of the rapidity of the development is, for me, it's very unsettling. I personally think we should just shut it all down, because we are not, as a society, the economic piece is one really important piece. Just like as a society, are we ready for this? Think of people falling for some of the crap that's being put out now that is obviously AI, and people are falling for it. You're going to have a total failure an inability of society to understand what is real and what is false. Things that are real. Remember Trump with the thing they were throwing out the White House window, and he was like, oh, that's probably AI. Things that are actually real. Or you can look at the images in Gaza that, the propaganda say, oh, that's not real, that's fake, that's AI, whatever. There will be that dynamic where things that are really happening, people say are fake. Things that are fake are going to be deemed as real. It's going to be topsy-turvy, and we are, as a society, in no way prepared to deal with that reality, let alone the other implications in terms of jobs displacement and what the social contract is going to look like, all of that. So to me, I find it all, I'm very troubled by all of it.
I'm worried as hell. You know, we were talking, the first Sora video that went viral was a surveillance video of Sam Altman.
Yeah.
And I said, can you imagine if this shit had been around just a few weeks ago when Charlie was shot, and Tyler Robinson deepfakes that were going around? You can see it happening like this. Also, to the discussion we just had about potential division and all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, these boomers barely know what's real on Facebook. Have you seen some of the stuff they're already sharing?
Yes.
Which is so
like those
fake.
weird bridge videos where people are like on a glass bridge and it falls apart and then a dog rescues a girl and whatever, and people are believing this stuff. Yeah, it's really scary. I mean, I'm not sure that some of the Tyler Robinson stuff that I have seen isn't AI.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. I'm not sure, right? These surveillance, they're grainy, whatever. You could fake that easily already. So, I don't know.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.